GoPro has finally done it with the Mission 1 Pro. While competing brands for the last 5 years or so have been continuously improving and innovating, GoPro, since about the era of the Hero 10, seem to have fallen behind. But let's fast forward to May 28th, 2026. On this date, GoPro released the new Mission 1 series. And this is a brand new series. These 3 cameras are not just the next Hero, which, by the way, GoPro did not release the Hero 14 in 2025 like they usually do around September of each year. Did the Hero series reach an end with the Hero 13? So the Mission 1 series is a whole new series of cameras, and the Mission 1 Pro alone offers about 10 features that I've been waiting for years to see GoPro offer in their cameras. When I first unboxed the Mission 1 Pro, I was excited to see a lens hood included. What I want to know is, why has it taken an action camera maker so long to include a simple rubber lens hood like this one? I've been wanting a lens hood since about 12 years ago when I first bought an action camera. Action cameras are lens flare magnets of the ugly kind, and a simple hood like this goes a long way in preventing those lens flares. So far, I have found the lens hood does indeed make a difference when filming in bright sunlight. The next thing I noticed, once I got this camera powered on and updated with that initial firmware update, there isn't that touchscreen delay that I experienced on a lot of other GoPro gens going back to about the Hero 9 and beyond. Everything is really snappy and responsive on here. That new GP3 SoC, you click and everything is basically instant. So that is a really nice improvement to see on this camera. It's clear that the GP3 SoC is a more powerful, efficient, and well-optimized chip on this camera. But once I got into the menus to set up the camera, I noticed a bunch of exciting features I thought I would never see on a GoPro. First of all, 8K being an option. I didn't think I was ever going to see 8K on a GoPro. But then another surprise is going down here and seeing 60 frames per second available with 8K. So you can film 8K 60 on the Mission 1 Pro. And to top it all off, the Mission 1 Pro has a 1-inch sensor. A 1-inch sensor has been on my GoPro wish list for years now. But then I scrolled down and dug into the menu even more, and I found several other things that surprised me. For instance, under bitrate right here. In the past, there used to be a standard bitrate and a high bitrate. But now there's a third category, and that is called max. With the high, you get 160 megabits per second, but the max, you get 240 megabits per second. Now, it was possible to get bitrates like this in the past, but you had to install the GoPro Labs firmware. And then you had to create a QR code to apply that bitrate. But now it's built into the official GoPro firmware. No longer do you need to install the GoPro Labs experimental firmware. And with that max bitrate of 240 megabits per second, the clarity and quality of the footage is incredible. But going down further to the color mode, I was surprised to see 5 options here now, including that new GP Log 2 mode. This mode offers an even flatter profile than the original GP Log offered. If you want footage you can grade with a maximum dynamic range, this is a powerful mode. In addition, there's a new mode called Cinematic. And the Cinematic mode is great for anybody who doesn't want to have to grade footage later on, but they want to get that more cinematic look straight out of the camera. And of course, there are the other 3 modes that you've typically seen on GoPros in the past: flat, natural, and vibrant. But it gets even better. Check this out. When you go to shutter right here, you now have 3 options. You have auto, you have fixed, and you have range. So auto was there before, as was fixed. You could always set a fixed shutter speed, or you could just keep it at auto. But now we have range. Range previous to this has not been available on a GoPro without the GoPro Labs firmware. And with that GoPro Labs firmware, you could apply a QR code, but you never really had insight into that. You didn't really know what it was doing on the camera, you just knew you had scanned it and you hoped it would work. Now, a lot of other competitors have offered the shutter speed range option on some of their action cameras for a few generations now, and I could not understand why GoPro has not offered this before. This is super useful for setting parameters that will ensure you never end up with jitter in your footage. When I got to ISO, I also found the options of auto, fixed, and range. But the low end of that range is now an incredible ISO of 25. And the algorithm on this camera is such that it will use as low of an ISO as possible based on lighting conditions to get the cleanest looking footage. How do I know? Well, because I found I can now see the values in real time. So in order to add that along the top, all you gotta do is swipe down, swipe left once, click Preferences, then go down to Displays, and toggle Capture Info on. It's gonna probably start off by default, but turn it on. So now you can see the shutter value, the ISO value, the EV value, and the white balance value, all right there on the top. This is huge, being able to see those values on the main screen while filming, and that alone makes the experience of using this camera far more pro. And speaking of pro, this GoPro has some modes that we have not really seen on a GoPro before. For instance, we now have a dedicated low light mode. And this mode actually films decent footage in low light. You can use this mode, or you can use some manual settings that I'm gonna show you in a future video. And the Mission 1 Pro is a legitimate contender now for low light footage, and here's why. So when shooting at 8K on this camera, the pixel size is 1.6 micrometers. But when shooting in the 4K open gate mode, the sensor utilizes quad Bayer 12 megapixel technology, which increases the pixel pitch all the way to a whopping 3.2 micrometers. So that larger effective pixel size makes a huge difference in low light. It makes your footage look a lot better, and there's a lot less grain and noise in that footage because of this technology. This is technology that a lot of higher priced cameras use, including ones like this Sony camera that I'm filming on right now. And if you want high quality slow motion, the Mission 1 Pro also offers a dedicated slow-mo mode. And I'm particularly excited about being able to film in 4K 240 on this camera. Now, if you have the Mission 1 that's not the Mission 1 Pro, just the base Mission 1, you'll be able to do 4K 120. But on the Mission 1 Pro, you can do 4K 240, you can do 1080 480, and then there's also a burst mode where you can do up to 1080p 960. 240 frames per second slow-mo is a huge improvement over 120 frames per second, and I love how it looks. And speaking of incredible, let's go over here to the time-lapse mode. For the first time on a GoPro, you can now shoot a time-lapse in both video and photo mode. So you can do video, JPEG, and RAW simultaneously at the same time. So no longer do you have to choose between the two. You can shoot a time-lapse, and if you don't like how the video came out and you want more photo editing flexibility, you can do those RAW photos and get really, really great results. I've been waiting for a long time for GoPro to offer this. Once you're all done capturing this incredible footage on the Mission 1 Pro, you're gonna have to wait a couple hours to recharge the battery, right? Because that's how long it takes on like every other GoPro. Not so with the Mission 1 Pro. GoPro has finally added fast charging. If you've owned a GoPro, charging a GoPro battery has probably been a very frustrating aspect of the process for you. But with the fast charging capabilities on the Enduro 2 battery, you can now charge this battery from 0 to 80% in about 27 minutes. This is a huge improvement from a usability standpoint. So from my perspective, GoPro is back in the game again as a serious competitor. Are any of these features revolutionary, brand new? No, not really. We've seen them on several other cameras, but the point is, GoPro is finally competitive again. And when it comes to capturing the best daytime footage, I have always felt like GoPro does the best with that. The clarity and detail in the footage, I feel like with GoPro, is still ahead of the rivals. So far, I've already taken the Mission 1 Pro on a couple adventures, and I am super impressed by the footage I've captured with it, including in low light. And I'm really excited to delve further into what I can capture with this camera. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to hit subscribe, because I'm gonna have a ton more videos coming that are gonna show you how to get the very best from the Mission 1 Pro.